What's up, everybody, to our final episode ever of the Grand Chancellor. With me today is the one and only
Mike D'Elia.
So, Mike, as your final episode of the Grand Chancellor, congratulations first on becoming a senior and graduating and walking. So, we would like to congratulate you from everyone from the boat. So, do you have any plans for a final episode? What would you like to talk about today?
I was thinking
the
of
goodbye?
Well, I was sort of thinking of ending it the way that we started the second season, because frankly, in my opinion, the first season was
trash.
Basically.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
First step is admitting it.
I'm sort of regretful that a lot of the things that I spoke about or wanted to work on were sort of canned
Yeah.
abruptly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But hey, that's life.
True.
And that goes into the Stoic concept of amor fati,
Which is?
basically it translates to love of fate. Love whatever occurs, regardless of the outcome of whatever risks you may take. Just don't care about the outcome. Just keep moving.
It's all about the process, not the product.
Yes.
That's what my band teacher always said to us. He would always tell us when we go to our big competitions, it's never about the product. It's all about the process and getting there. But deep down, we all know he wanted that gold medal.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, at the same time, I may not want this show to end, but I'm just going with the flow here.
Yeah. Life happens, and sometimes we have to deal with what is given to us.
Mm-hmm.
We see it some instances as like a cruel punishment from the divine lords. Other ways we see it from a blessing, and it's just how we take those consequences and those actions, and how we spin to our own selves. Life gives you lemons, you make lemonade.
Mm-hmm. I mean, and if life gives you coconuts, you make
Coconut milk
or coconut cream pie.
Ooh, oh, I had that's a tangent for another day. But I had some coconuts back home. I should have eaten those. Damn.
Or
Anyway.
coconut chocolate,
Ooh,
like especially
or
from
like
the
a macaroon.
Yes.
Oh, guys, this is no more the Grand Chancellor. This is the Grand Bake Off. Anyway, back to the idea of Stoicism, though.
Yeah.
Do you believe, though, like there is a sense of Stoicism still today, that like society is still kind of allowing themselves to deal with the blows, or do you think we're pushing back now?
I think we're pushing back from Stoicism because there's this significant emphasis on emotion, whereas Stoicism runs contrary to that by saying, no, you should be completely detached from your emotions, or at least control the way you react to every situation.
So instead of, let's say, getting rejected from your favorite let's say you got rejected from your dream school. So instead of like crying and lashing out and everything, you should just
roll with the punches.
Just go like, oh well, I didn't get in. That's
well.
good. Oh well, just go. There's another university for my name.
Yeah.
Okay, very interesting. I kind of agree with this, but the same, like I feel like this is one of the few times I think I've actually agreed with one of your points, but almost agree though I should say.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some points that like don't emotions make humans though? Like if we detach ourselves completely from our actions, are we no different than the robotics we create?
Well, I would say that there is a line between humans and robots, but at the same time, if we were to just act on what our emotions tell us, or God forbid, what our instincts tell us, and that alone, well, Aristotle said that the only difference between humans and animals is our ability to reason.
Yeah. So do you think because we have a judicial system, like we have laws in place, do you think it's saying something like, well, this guy murdered 6 people life compared to he murdered 6 people, but he's my best friend.
Yeah.
So let's give him 50.
That's
so you think
an example of emotional
yeah,
attachment.
exactly. That's the emotion. That's the example I'm using, which I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it should be like in some instances. I feel like there should be very like detached emotions or personal like reach. Like I'm a very strong believer of separation of church and state.
Yeah. I mean, at the same time, there are people that are in favor of church and state,
Yeah.
and well, one of the things which goes along with it is detachment, because even Buddha said that an over-attachment to basically anything will basically kill you mentally or even physically. Like you can't exactly predict the outcomes, but you can choose how you react to them. And you can choose to be detached.
Gotcha.
You can choose to be happy about
What's going on?
what goes on, regardless of whether or not that satisfies you.
So almost you can relate to Aristotle and his idea of temperance. Like you can't have too much of one thing, because then it causes potential vice. But you can't have too little of anything, because that could be bad for you, though.
And we can't take too much of anything.
Yeah. So it's all. I feel like the whole concept. I feel like for humanity is almost like mediation. We can't be too good, because then that good could be evil, and we can't be too evil, because then we destroy ourselves.
I mean, if we want to do a very large amount of good for a significant amount of people, then you go into the idea of nanny politics.
Yeah.
And just well, I'm sure you may have experienced the girlfriend that mommies you all the time.
Yeah. Been there, done that. You're right.
But at the same time, detachment is key. That even if you, I mean, the Japanese, the code of Bushido.
Yes.
You know where I'm leading with this.
Yes.
If you go into battle wanting to die, then you will live, and if you go into battle worrying about, oh, I could potentially lose my life, you may potentially lose your life. So that sense of detachment is important, even in the case of what we've been talking about fairly recently, which I didn't really go into, which was magic. That the idea of detachment, you have to be completely detached from the income.
So it was a sort of belief.
So yeah,
faith.
Yes.
Optimism.
I mean, if you don't want to call it magic, you could just call it prayer.
Yeah. So the idea of faith is, I guess you can say, faith and temperance really go hand in hand for some reasons in human society. I feel like.
I mean, those are the four cardinal virtues. You have prudence, which is wisdom.
Yes.
Temperance,
Courage.
which is moderation.
Yes.
Courage or fortitude, whichever you want to use, and morality or justice.
Justice.
And those two, that stoic calm, all of that willfulness to stare evil
death's door.
Stare at death's door and just say,
"Hey,
not today."
Yeah, not today.
Yeah. What do we say to the god of death?
Nothing.
Not today.
Oh, whoops.
Game of Thrones
Game
reference.
of Thrones, yeah, I thought it was nothing.
But yeah, that's the whole idea of it.
Do you think because we're pushing against tourism, it will have repercussions against us? Do you think because we're using more of our emotions now to judge and lash out,
well,
it's gonna bite us? That we're gonna change ourselves to something worse?
I mean, just as I see where you're coming from, because at the same time, if you just bottle up your emotions and just stick a cork in it,
it's going to cause more issues.
It's eventually going to become pressurized and pop.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's. I mean, you can get into the into the concept of into the life of Lenny Bruce, that you could just say. Well, anything that he said, I don't want to go into that because
we don't say it. Just don't say it.
We don't say that.
Yeah, we don't say that here
on our Vincentian campus.
Oh yeah.
But in a freaking snap, everything people can go crazy within just by saying a single word.
Oh yeah, or doing a single gesture or something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
That's
It's interesting how complex yet fragile we are.
Yeah. I mean that could be seen without history, because once you get into the concept of religion, you get the idea of sort of sexual repression or the idea of retention, brahmacharya in the Hindu tradition. But there's a difference between retention and suppression, and if it is suppression, repression, if what goes down must come up.
Yes.
And things will inevitably go out of control.
Of course. It's just this cycle of life. There's order, there's chaos, everything that exists.
Yeah. And if it is, the difference between repression and oppression and the idea of brahmacharya is the power of the will and what you use it for. The power of the will and what you use it for. And that's that does go into the idea of detachment, being completely. I could want to watch a specific movie on Netflix, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't affect my life. And a week later, you just see
Everyone
that
talking about.
you just see that movie that you wanted to see on Netflix.
Hmm.
Like that sort of happened to me in my own experience. I was thinking about the intro scene to. I'm not sure if you've seen Season of the Witch with Nicolas Cage and Ron Perlman.
No.
It was something I saw when I was in high school, and it was a very good movie. But I could have gone the rest of my life without seeing it. But there. Anything else you want to say?
I feel like as I get older, and I'm still very young. I'm not saying I'm this great sage who's been reincarnated 1,000 times.
Neither
No.
of us are.
I'm just your standard typical college guy, just recording a podcast.
Not stereotypical.
Yeah, just a standard dude, just in a booth recording a podcast, just living life the past 21 years. I just feel like as I'm getting
Happy
older.
birthday, by the way.
Thank you. I just feel like as I get older, at least, I feel like I start to notice that there's a fine line between using your emotions and a fine line of using your common knowledge. And then I feel like for me, I feel like I have to figure out what's more appropriate to use. Do I lash out in anger because of my emotions because he or she did something wrong, or do I use my common knowledge to go like, well, technically they didn't do anything wrong. It's just prospectively to me, it is wrong. So then
You're wise beyond your years.
yeah, so it's becoming now more not interpersonal, but intrapersonal. More knowing why are you knowing more why you're reacting to what actions, and that's what I've noticed myself most of these 3 years being here in college is like I'm being more reflective of my actions and being not hesitant, but being more cautious. Like, why am I doing such action? Am I doing it because of emotions, or am I doing it because I want to? Am I doing it just because it's the right thing to do? And I feel like that's something like as everyone gets older, they should just consider like, why are they doing this?
At the same time, well, Ben Franklin said it best. The problem with common sense is it's not that common.
Yeah. So that is my little fortune cookie of knowledge for everyone as we send this off.
Yeah. I'm graduating. Albert's
Congratulations, Mike.
entering his senior year next year.
Yes, I am.
And hey, I love St. John's. I would not have chosen any other school.
Nice.
And I mean, not counting the student loans,
Shit,
but
that's very true.
I mean, I definitely would have gone to trade school otherwise if I wasn't so knee deep in debt. But yeah, I mean, I loved my time at St. John's, and I loved working with Albert here.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Love working with you, Mike. Once again, everyone, we would like to congratulate Mike DeLea on graduating St. John's class of 2019, correct?
Yes.
In 2019, we all wish him the best. I hope much success for you. I hope I see you as like the mayor of Albany someday. So once again,
Hopefully.
everyone, this is the final episode of the Grand Chancellor. Mike, do you have any other things you want to say? Any last message? Anything you want to plug in?
Never stop learning.
Wise words from a wise man. Well, everyone, that was the series finale of the Grand Chancellor. I would like to thank everyone personally for listening to this show every week when it came out. I would like to thank the fans for listening and leaving your likes and dislikes. Thank you, everyone, for supporting this show for the past 2 years, correct?
Just about.
About
Or
2 years.
2 semesters.
2 semesters about all of this show. And we would like to thank you all. And please support us always and always learn on. Thank you. And I'm Albert, signing off one last time.